Welcome back to some new r/pettyrevenge stories, where people share small victories over those who wronged them. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Wrong Seat. I'm traveling quite a bit again at the moment. I generally book plane row 6 or 7 if I can, as they are not too expensive, but close enough to the front for convenience. Today I sat in 7D without really checking, to be honest. I was in 7F on the way out, and I can get a bit number blind. I had 7D in my head for the return. A lady came along and suggested she was in our row, so I stood to let her in. She thought she had the aisle, and I checked the letter on my pass, blind to the row. Then I noticed I should have been in the row in front, and told her. She said, "Oh, so you are in the wrong seat," as loud as she could, and almost climbed over me while I tried to retrieve my bag from under the seat. I am now alone in row 6, while there are 3 people cramped in row 7. It's not revenge, but it's satisfying. I'm staying in my aisle seat with my extra hand luggage under the seat next to me, and don't really feel like offering anyone the space. Happy summertime flying is on the way. The next story is called Rude Phone Calls. This happened over 15 years ago. I was a temp, doing office temp jobs in the hopes of getting hired. My agency sent me to a brokerage firm in a higher end area of town. Think Mercedes-Benzes and Porsches in the driveways. I was a receptionist. My boss was a nice enough person, and she was very busy with tons of meetings and incoming calls. Early on in my stint there, I would regularly get a call each day by a woman from a number I did not recognize. That went like this: "Hello, how can I help you? Get me the boss on the phone, now." I was flustered and panicking. I'm sorry, she's in a meeting." "I don't care if she's in a meeting. Get her on the phone, now." I was having a full-on anxiety attack at that moment. "I'll see what I can do." I check on my boss, and she's in a conference with people. Lots of suits and lots of papers on the meeting table. So I return to the phone. "I'm sorry, she's still meeting with." "I don't care. Now get me the boss on the phone, now." "May I take a message and tell her who called?" "No, you may not take a message or tell her who called. Get her on the phone, now." I would then interrupt my boss's meeting in a full-on panic mode. Tell her about the insistent, irate caller, and she would pause the meeting and take the call. After having these experiences a few times, the boss would tell me, "That is just Lynn, an office manager from another branch. The next time she calls, just take a message." Only I didn't recognize Lynn's number. The screaming would continue, and so I was still interrupting my boss's meetings. I told her about how irate the screamer was, and my boss would continue to go, "Next time, just take a message," and write it off. After seeing my boss's workload, I could not blame her. Plus, I wanted to be a good worker, put up with the stress, because that's what good workers do, right? When Lynn finally did come in person, she was the exact opposite of her phone persona. She dressed in muted colors, kept her head down, would not make eye contact with me or say hi, spoke in low tones, and seemed very reserved with other people in the office. This puzzled me, because when I connected the dots later, that she was the person who was loud, irate, and rude towards me on the phone, I could not figure out why she directed this anger at me. So after 3 weeks of having to call Lynn's office every other day, and sometimes directly dialing Lynn and hearing Lynn talk, I matched Lynn's voice with her direct number. Now I know who was screaming at me, only I didn't let Lynn know that I knew who she was, and that I knew her direct line now. When it came to Lynn, I continued with, "I'm sorry, I'm just a temp. With whom am I speaking?" whenever I called. One day, towards the end of my stint, I received yet another Lynn call. At this time, I was ready. "Hello, how can I help you?" "Get me the boss on the phone, now." "She's in a meeting right now. Would you?" "I don't care if she's in a meeting. Get her on the phone, now." She asked me to take messages. May I ask who you are? No, you may not ask who I am. Put her on the phone already. And may I ask the reason for your call? No, put her on the phone and quit wasting my time. May I have a number for her to call you back? No, I said put her on the phone. I was savoring this moment. So, Lynn, you won't need to interrupt the boss's meeting. And when she asks why, I'll have to tell her that Lynn wouldn't give me a callback number. The reason why she's calling, and she didn't want to leave a message. Is that what I will have to tell her, Lynn? No. There was a complete 180-degree change in voice and demeanor from Lynn. Shall I leave the boss a message and tell her you called, Lynn? Yeah. Very good, Lynn. The rest of my stint finished with Lynn being at least cordial to me on the phone, and no more shouting. The third story is called Handicapped Parking. I use handicapped parking, and it's annoying when someone takes it up without a placard. Usually I groan and curse to myself. However, when it's egregious, I usually say something. Today had an especially egregious occurrence. I arrived home this afternoon, and there was a transport for a fairly large car sales delivery service truck parked across most of the handicapped spaces. We have about 8 in front of the building. This truck took up 5 of them. I was very annoyed, so I snapped a few pictures and proceeded to contact the company. I'm not going to approach this person, but the company should definitely know. After I made the report, I was thanking the customer agent when I heard a bang. The driver decided to move the truck. He'd been parked there for at least 25 minutes, and while backing up, smashed into a light pole. This wasn't a small tap. The entire light pole fell onto the fence behind it, totally broken. Thankfully, I'm still on the phone with the agent. I don't think I've ever heard a customer agent sound so entertainingly shocked. I gave the information to the agent, who promised to forward it along and made lots of notes. I forwarded the pictures of the driver blocking the spots, as well as somewhat distant picture of the truck right in front of the now broken light pole. I reported this to the office right after it happened, since I had a feeling that the driver wasn't going to. I just saw the police show up, probably to take an accident report. The driver is definitely going to have a bad day. The next story is called Lift Revenge. I was about to take out a bunch of rubbish and press the button for the lift. Nothing happens for a few minutes, and I can hear people talking from the floor above, where they must be holding up the lift. I pressed the button a few more times, which they must have heard because I could follow half the conversation. Still, no movement in the lift. After a few more minutes, I get impatient and take the stairs instead. I managed to press the lift button on each floor whilst juggling my bin bags. By the time I made it down and had thrown away all my rubbish, I got the satisfaction of seeing the lift stop at the last 2 floors, and someone walking out with a very annoyed look on her face. The last story is called Bubble Revenge. When I was in college, I had 3 assigned roommates. They didn't buy any of the necessities, like food, toilet paper, cooking oil, cleaning supplies, paper towels, etc. I was buying pretty much everything, which I definitely could not afford, but I wanted to be nice. I said I was fine with them using my things, as long as they replaced them. Whenever they used something up, they never replaced it. I just find it missing. They would start mentioning we were missing it, and add, we should get more. I would say, then buy some. Then they'd change the subject. If they did buy something, they put it in their own room. I was being polite, but inside, I was burning with a white-hot fury, infuriated beyond belief. Fast forward to an early morning class. I'm getting ready to leave. My roommate is putting dishes in the dishwasher before he goes to class. The previous night, I told him he needed to start doing dishes, because he constantly cooked and never cleaned. I was really happy to see it was getting done. He was also getting ready for class. I was grabbing a bite to eat when he said, "We need more dishwasher pods." I said, "Buy them." He paused and said dish soap would work, which was also mine. I told him not to, and it would shut up and just buy the pods. He said to believe him, and that it would work. He proceeded to fill the cap, started it, and went to shower for class. I proceeded to end the cycle and dump about a cup or more of dishwasher detergent in out of spite. Then started it again. I went to class, munching on a bagel, excited for the text he might send. It felt good to think of what he'd find after the shower. 40 minutes later, yes, he showered for 40 minutes every day. I got a snapshot of our apartment. It was awesome. There were suds everywhere. We could have hosted a bubble run or a nightclub with the bubbles in that apartment. He had to cancel going to class to clean it and then bought pots. He ended up apologizing and even started pitching in more with things. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.